So how significant was it for Robredo to pass on the opposition leadership to Hontiveros? Let's get now the perspective of political analyst Richard Heydarian, who joins us now via Zoom. Richard, thank you so much for joining us. So with VP Leni passing on the baton to Senator Hontiveros, what is next for citizen Leni? How will she remain relevant in the political landscape? Or is she saying, I'm done with politics?
You know, Rico, that's exactly the problem right now. It's not very clear to us what's really the game plan for, outgoing Vice President Leni Robredo. I mean, after all, in fairness to her, she actually increased her numbers compared to her vice presidential run from 2016 to 2022 when she ran for the presidency. Now, just to tell you how important that is, former Vice President Jejomar Binay, his number almost went down by 60% when he ran for the presidency compared to the numbers that he got for the vice presidency in 2010 compared to 2016. And when he ran for the Senate, surveys were suggesting he could barely make it, but he was out of the picture when the final numbers came in. So what does it suggest? I think that suggests that Leni Robredo still has a chance to be a force to reckon with on the national level. I think if she runs for the Senate, now, we're not clear if she wants to run for the governor position down the road, for a congressman position or a national office. So I think she has still a political capital to mobilize. She increased her numbers from barely 5-6% in the surveys last year to up to 25-27%. So her trajectory may not have been enough to win the presidency, but I think it suggests that she can still be a force to reckon with if she's clear with her plan. But in the meantime,
Richard, you say she still has the political capital. She still has. She's still a force to reckon with. So, will she make noise? Will she oppose Marcos Jr.'s policies, his leadership over the next 3 years? Because the next elections will still be in 2025 to still remain relevant and to be a voice of the opposition.
Yes, Rico. I mean, look at the level of enthusiasm for her campaign for the presidency. We have seen unprecedented level. I mean, legions of volunteers coming out, so many celebrities, major individuals coming out. Obviously, the campaign strategy perhaps was not good enough to make the most out of it. But in the 6 months that the pink movement came into being, we saw what the kind of a super Bebo toddler it was. So the potential is extreme as far as the pink movement is concerned. But it needs leadership. It needs clear leadership. And Riza Hontiveros, what she showed is consistency throughout the past 6 years. She was never quiet. She was never passive. She always took the fight to the administration. And in the end, actually paid off for her. She became the only full-fledged opposition candidate to make it to the Senate under very difficult circumstances. And I think that tells something for Leni. If Leni wants to remain relevant, wants to exercise the political capital she has, many people still look up to her, I think she can learn a thing or two from Riza Hontiveros, not only in terms of character, not only in terms of projection of strength, but also in terms of policy. I think Riza Hontiveros, in fairness to her, was much more clear-cut on controversial issues, whether it's LGBTQ rights, abortion, divorce, much more progressive social justice agenda issues, while Leni, for some people, perhaps, was a little bit wishy-washy.
So Richard, so far, Senator Riza is one of only 2 senators in the 19th Congress who could be in the minority bloc, and the other being Senator Pimentel. Do you see other senators joining this minority bloc, or will the 22 form what they call a supermajority?
Yes, I mean, Rico, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, in the Philippines, we don't have real political parties. What we have are alliances of convenience, which are time-bound and interest-bound. So in 2019, 0 opposition made it to the Senate. And yet we saw the supposed supermajority really wasn't a supermajority when a push came to shove. President Duterte was not able to get the 2/3 majority to pass a new constitution, even a majority to pass for controversial legislation like bringing down the criminal liability age or, for instance, death penalty, restoration of death penalty. What does it say? What it says is that, yes, in terms of full-fledged opposition, maybe Riza Hontiveros is really the other one. But conflict of interest, ambition, right? And alliances of convenience, which are time-bound, and absence of real political party means that there will be a lot of other people who may have sided with the unity team during the campaign, but now have other ideas. And then there are other people like Chizo Escudero, for instance, who actually ran as part of the united opposition under Robredo. So he actually voted for Leni Robredo, and he said on CNN Philippines that he voted for Leni Robredo. So he may not be as progressive or openly progressive as Riza Hontiveros, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to defect to the other side. So count on the possibility that the supermajority is actually not a supermajority and not as crystallized as they want to project it. I think conflict of interest will mean Cayetano, Escudero, and a number of other figures who are not seen as full-fledged opposition will join the minority bloc. And then later on, once controversial issues kick in, that's where we're going to see the loyalty check. Who's really the yes man, yes woman, who's really loyal to incoming President Obama? I'm sorry, President Marcos Jr. And who is really there only as a conditional or tactical ally during election period.
So Richard, as a final question, when will you have opinions about Marcos Jr. on how he's managing the country? When will you start critiquing his programs and leadership style?
Well, I think as early as now, we can have already commentaries. I already have a lot of commentaries and written works.
You won't wait for the 100th day.
Cabinet and where also his foreign policy could go. I mean, he has described China as our most important strategic partner. What does that mean? Does it mean continuation of strategic subservience, as we have seen under President Duterte? He has taken up the role of Department of Agriculture, but does he have the expertise and the kind of long-term commitment, or is this just some populist antics amid the rise in fuel prices and food prices? So, but let's be fair. I think we still have to give a chance in a sense that we have to trust but verify, in a sense that we have to give him a chance but carefully watch. Where is the Bongbong administration going to be better than the outgoing administration? Where it's going to be having more continuity or even worse? So to be fair, I think to all of us, we're trying to give a chance, but based on a case-to-case basis and based on the evidence and facts that is coming in so far.
Thank you so much for your insights, political analyst Richard Heydarian.